Welcome back, class. For this segment of the fruit and bowl demo, we're going to start working in these shadowed areas underneath the fruit and in the folds of the cloth. But first we're going to start by just blocking in the local color of the cloth here with a little more of that pink. So I'm just going to clean off my sticks a little bit, the paper towel. Just to make sure I don't get any unwanted color mixtures. So I'm going in with the red. And I'm still using a pretty light touch with it. Still can see the paper grain. So just being real light-handed with it. Easy does it. And now I'm adding some white. So we're getting that same pink that we had in the background. Just bringing it forward. And I'm continuing to look at my reference photo for guidance to check the value and the color. So I didn't really want white there. So at this point, it might be a good idea to try to reestablish that drawing of where the drapery overlaps the bowl a little bit. So I'm just going to reinstate that area a little bit. Find out where it overlaps. There's an overlapped area, and then over here, and up here, and maybe we'll bring that down. Just checking reference. Block in a little bit of the shadowed area there. Okay, so then they use a light blue, which almost to me looks like blue violet, on the edges here of the fold. So I'm going over this area just lightly with a little bit of this blue. Maybe that goes there. Got some light blue here, here, and a little bit there. Some here. In the shadow area. So you just want to keep moving. And to me that looks, in the book, it looks to me a little bit violet of a blue, so I'm going to add some purple to that light blue just to try to get something a little closer to the color that I see. Maybe something more like that. Like a light blue violet. Ooh. So you might have to play with that a little to get what you want. Just keep checking it from time to time. Maybe I'll even blend this a little to try to blend that color with my finger. Get that violet color in there. So, maybe something like that. I don't want to be too fussy. It's important to keep on moving throughout your painting as much as you can. You don't want to get stuck on one spot. Then you can't see the whole if you get stuck on one area. So I'm just going to keep moving throughout this piece and checking, the value as I go. I don't want it to get too light. I'm also using a different color than the book, so the result might be slightly different. So I am going to lighten up that pink, I believe, and maybe cool it down with just a little bit of blue. It feels a little too warm in color temperature. So cool that down a little bit here. Adding some white. Oops. Go back over here, maybe cool that down just a little with that light blue. And I'll lighten it up with some white. So I've added some white here, a little bit of blue, a little bit of white. I think I might add some more blue right here. Just to cool that down a little. See how it's getting a little bit lighter to add the white. Okay. So I'm also going to address this fold here. A little bit of red, a little bit of white, and also that same blue, just so we're relating everything. Now I'm going to look for that shadow color. To me, it looks like kind of a green, almost like an ochre green. So it says in your book to use a cool gray, but I don't have that, so I'm going to mix up a little bit of blue. So I'm going to mix up a little blue, a little bit of yellow, and a little bit of red. So if you mix up your primary red, yellow, and blue, you can get sort of an olive green, toned down kind of color. So let's give that a shot and see what happens. So I put down my red and my yellow, and now I'm going to put down the blue. And see how the blue is creating more of a greenish kind of desaturated. So that's what you want for your shadows. So if you think back to that neutral exercise, this is why I had you do it, so that you'd know what colors you needed to mix. Let's say you didn't have every color in the book. This way you don't need to have 20 different colors. You can do it with just a few. So now I need the blue to bring that, takes the intensity right down, and it also changes it to a more neutral, kind of greenish. So I'm just going to keep doing that. Going over these cast shadow. This is a cast shadow being created from the fruit. So that is giving us dimension by adding the cast shadows, and it's also creating some contrast, so that it's a contrast between values here, and it's also a contrast between more saturated and less saturated color. So it's leading our eye into that fruit area, which is what we want. So it's killing a lot of birds with one step. Yellow, red, and blue. So we've gotten all of these cast shadow areas. See another one here. So that's why it's a good idea to map them out, when you go to do your drawing. Then you know where you want to put your shadow areas when you get to that part. So I call these like shadow shapes. Just draw in the shape of the shadow, and then it's ready to go when I get to that part. Oops. And then last, the blue. Okay. So just keep looking at my reference to check where those shadows are. Try to get them all. See how I'm doing on time. So I've got my red and yellow, and again, so a little more blue. So I'm just mapping out all of these cast shadow areas. I'm just going to correct that a little bit. Just define that pair a little more. Get rid of this outline. So you want to try to get rid of any outlines as you go along. It tends to make things look flat. So those were just there as a guide. Okay, I see one more shape of a shadow that I somehow missed. So this might be a little bit tricky because I already have some white in there, which is going to change the value, probably. So I'm mapping out another shadow area. Hope you can see it. I'll move this a little bit there. There's this other shadow area of the fold. There. Okay, and then I'm seeing another one up here. So our light is coming from this direction, and then the shadow is coming from that direction. So that's how we can tell where our light's coming from. If the shadows are on the right side, it means the light's coming from here. Another one. Looks like almost this whole area really. I'll leave that a little bit white. I think there's a little reflected light there, so I'll just indicate that with like a little bit of this creamy white color. So maybe there's a little bit of reflected light here. I'm just going to denote that. Just adding a little bit of this creamy white here to the mix. And that's also taking down a little bit of that harsh pink. I think it's neutralizing it a bit. It's a little bit strong. So you don't want your background to compete with your focus, your main focus. You'll add a bit of blue to the background as well. I think it was a little bit too saturated for my taste. Go over that with a little bit of that creamy sort of off-white color that I used down here. I'm just adding it up here. So that'll take down the pink, and it will also create something called unity. When you repeat a color or a value, it really helps pull a piece together. Right. So let's come over here and try to start resolving some of this. So I'm looking to see what colors I see. So I see a little more of that light blue, more of that violet right around this edge. And I think I'm going to double check this area here. Okay, so just checking my drawing. And I'm going to bring that shadow all the way to the edge, I think. Just blended that in a little bit. But, you know, maybe you can leave some of it unblended just for fun, just to give it a little more interest. See some of the texture of the paper showing through. It can be fun. And I'm just going to make one more change. I'm going to cheat a little bit with that turquoise color. Couldn't quite get what I wanted. So I'm going to add a little bit of this here just to make that definition between the edge of the fabric and the bowl. And just going to redraw that fold there just a little. Okay. So we've got our cast shadows, we've got some middle values, and we've redrawn our outline a little bit. So that's all I'm going to do for this section. So thank you for watching, and I hope you're enjoying it.